The night the field went silent, I noticed it before I heard it. Or rather, my dog did. I was standing on the porch, zipped into my winter jacket, gloves stiff from the cold. The farm had already gone dark, the kind of darkness that feels settled, familiar. Winter does that out here. It presses everything closer to the ground. Sounds don't travel far. Life slows down. Except that night, it stopped. No crickets. No wind through the dry grass. No distant cattle shifting their weight. Just nothing. That's when Thor, my brown Labrador, stood up. He'd been lying near my boots, half asleep, his head heavy on his paws. Loyal as always, calm as always. Thor wasn't a nervous dog. He'd grown up on this land. He knew its moods better than most people. But now his body had gone rigid. His ears lifted first. Then his head. Then that low, quiet sound in his chest. Not a growl, not a bark. Something held back. I followed his gaze toward the open field beyond the barn. "Easy boy," I said, more out of habit than concern. He didn't look at me. That's when I realized something else felt wrong. The silence wasn't peaceful. It was alert. Thor stepped forward, slow and deliberate, stopping right at the edge of the porch light. He didn't cross into the darkness. He just stood there, staring into the field as if waiting for something to move, or for something to happen. I had lived on this farm for over 20 years. I knew the sounds of winter. I knew the pauses between them. But I had never known this kind of quiet. And the way Thor reacted told me one thing clearly. Whatever was coming, he had already sensed it. I didn't follow Thor into the field that night. That decision would haunt me later. Instead, I watched him stand there for a long moment, muscles tight beneath his brown coat, breath slow but controlled. When nothing happened, he finally turned back toward me, eyes searching my face as if asking a question I didn't yet understand. We went inside. I locked the door. Still, sleep didn't come easy. The next morning, the farm looked normal. Too normal. Frost clung to the fence posts. The barn roof shimmered under pale winter light. The cattle stood exactly where they always did, chewing lazily, steam rising from their nostrils. But Thor didn't run ahead like he usually did. He stayed close to my leg as we crossed the yard, his tail low, ears constantly shifting. Every few steps, he stopped and sniffed the air, then looked toward the field again. The same field. By noon, I started noticing small things. A section of grass pressed flat, as if something heavy had passed through during the night. A fence wire pulled tighter than it should have been. No break. No obvious damage. Just tension. Thor refused to drink from the trough near the barn. He circled it once, sniffed, then backed away, letting out a soft huff through his nose. That got my attention. Thor trusted water more than food. Always had. I knelt beside him, ran a gloved hand over his neck. "What is it, huh?" I murmured. He leaned into me for half a second, then pulled away again, eyes fixed on the ground beyond the fence line. That afternoon, the silence returned. Not complete, but thin. Even the wind seemed to hesitate before crossing the field. I grabbed a flashlight and walked the perimeter before dusk. Every step felt heavier than the last. Not fear exactly, more like the awareness that I was walking into something unfinished. Thor moved ahead of me, nose low, tracking in slow, careful arcs. He stopped near the far edge of the property, close to an old irrigation ditch that hadn't been used in years. That's where he froze. His tail stiffened, his head lifted, and then he did something I had never seen him do before. He sat down, right there in the dirt, blocking my path. I stopped walking. Thor looked back at me, then at the field behind us. His body wasn't tense anymore, it was resolved. He wasn't warning me. He was choosing for me. I stood there for a long moment, breath fogging the cold air, listening to my own heartbeat. Every instinct told me to step around him, to keep going, to see what he was seeing. Instead, I turned back. That night, I barely slept. Sometime after midnight, I heard it. Not a sound. A shift, like pressure moving underground. Thor lifted his head instantly, eyes open, focused toward the field. This time, he didn't hesitate. He growled. Low. Steady. Certain. And that's when I understood something had already crossed onto my land. And whatever it was It hadn't come by accident. I didn't wait for morning. I pulled on my boots, grabbed the flashlight and the old radio from the kitchen shelf. Thor was already on his feet, standing by the door, body steady, eyes sharp. He didn't bark. He didn't rush. He waited for me. The field felt different at night, closer, heavier. The beam of the flashlight cut through the frost, catching broken stalks, shallow tracks pressed into the ground. Not animal, not cattle, human. That realization tightened something in my chest. We moved toward the irrigation ditch. Thor stayed just ahead of me, not leading, not following, guiding. When we reached the edge, he stopped again. This time, he didn't sit. He stepped aside. The ditch wasn't empty. At first, I thought it was debris, old tarp, rusted metal. Then the shape shifted. A low groan cut through the air, thin and strained. I froze. A man lay half hidden in the ditch, wrapped in a torn jacket, face pale against the dark soil. One leg twisted at an unnatural angle, the ground beneath him dark with blood. He wasn't moving much, but he was alive. Thor approached slowly, stopping just out of reach. He lowered his head and sniffed, then looked back at me, eyes steady. This is why the field went silent. The man's eyes opened when my light hit his face. Panic flared, then relief. I didn't want to come here, he whispered. I got hurt. I tried to stay quiet. That was when it clicked. The silence. The pressure underfoot. Thor blocking my path. The land hadn't gone quiet because something dangerous had arrived. It had gone quiet because something was dying. I radioed for help immediately, kneeling beside the man, using my jacket to slow the bleeding. My hands shook, but Thor pressed close, solid and warm, grounding me. Sirens took time to reach the farm. Time always does. While we waited, the man told me he'd been cutting across the fields, trying to reach the road after a fall from a neighboring property. He thought staying still was safer. Thor never left his side. Not once. When the ambulance lights finally washed over the field, sound returned all at once. Engines, voices, radios crackling. The land exhaled. As they loaded the man onto the stretcher, a paramedic looked at Thor and shook his head. "Good dog," he said quietly. Thor didn't react. He was watching me, because he already knew. The danger had never been the man. The danger had been what would have happened if Thor hadn't acted first. The field didn't feel the same after that night. Not because of fear, but because of respect. In the days that followed, I walked the property differently. Slower, more attentive. I repaired the fence near the ditch, cleared the old path that led toward the road, and installed a small solar light at the edge of the field. Not because I was afraid of what might come again, but because I understood something I hadn't before. Thor had read the land in a way I never could. Where I heard silence, he sensed urgency. Where I saw darkness, he recognized presence. Where I hesitated, he acted. I used to think loyalty meant staying close. That night taught me it also means knowing when to step forward first. Thor still sleeps by my boots on cold nights. He still runs the fields when the sun is up. But now, when he pauses and looks into the distance, I don't dismiss it. I stop. I listen. Because sometimes, danger doesn't arrive loud or violent. Sometimes it comes quietly, hoping no one notices. And sometimes, salvation comes the same way. If this story touched you, I'd love to hear it in the comments. Have you ever had a moment where your dog seemed to know something before you did? If you enjoy stories about the deep bond between humans, animals, and the land, consider subscribing to Paws of History. These stories take time to tell and time to feel. And if you share your life with a dog, share this story with someone who understands that connection. Because out here, and maybe in your world too, we're never as alone as we think.
Paws of History, because every story leaves a paw print, and its memories stay with us forever.